Welcome to Get Savvy, the podcast for people who want to claim back their time through the power of streamlining, delegation, and productivity. Now, in the last episode, we might have left you wondering with the whole AI scene, okay, this is cool, but how do I actually start using this in my business? So we're going to use this episode to talk about some things that you can actually start implementing, start having a play around with in your own business.
Bit of a disclaimer that this is recorded in May 2024. So due to AI absolutely evolving at a rapid pace, we're going to keep talking about this because this will get out of date and there'll be new things that come out daily. Yeah. It is so fast right now.
Absolutely. In 2 years' time, we might be, our robot selves might be recording the podcast for us. Who knows?
Who knows?
And they'll be looking back at our predictions going, what the heck were you thinking? But AI is coming in very fast and it's here to stay, whether you like it or not. So we want you to be as prepared as possible with your business. So we want to show you some ways on how you can start using it and really just start simple. That is my biggest tip for today. It is overwhelming. There is so much coming out at the moment. And Jo and I have talked before about that some of the tools that are coming out may not stick around for very long. So starts with some safer basics. So obviously everyone's heard of ChatGPT. If you haven't, probably living under a bit of a rock. So please go and have a look at that. And Meta have actually brought out their own version of ChatGPT now called Meta AI. So these two are some really, I guess, simple ones that you can start playing around with and start figuring out how to use them to your advantage. Or if you have existing tools and apps for your business, which I hope you do, a lot of these guys are starting to bring out their own AI integrations with a bunch of these apps as well. So if you see one pop up with a tool you're already using, then maybe give that a go as a starting point.
Yeah, I think, that's a very key point, is to just start simple and start utilizing one of the AI models. So we've got ChatGPT, we've got the Meta AI now. Meta AI, I think, is going to really rival ChatGPT. They have just brought out a very simple, you can use the desktop version, or you would have seen it at the top of your messages in the Meta app. So Facebook or Instagram, you'll see it up there. And the desktop version looks very similar to ChatGPT.
Yep.
It doesn't have GPTs yet in it, which are kind of like, think of those as kind of like apps in an app store. And you can't upload images or files yet, but that will be absolutely coming. Like they, I'm sure, ramping this up very fast. So the thing I think is the reason why it's going to rival ChatGPT is that Meta AI is free.
Yeah.
And
yes.
From what I've heard, they're going to keep it free so that they can get as much of the market as possible.
Mm. So at the moment, ChatGPT has version 3.5, which is their free one, and then ChatGPT 4 is their paid one, which is, I believe, is it 20 New Zealand or US dollars?
It's about 33 New Zealand dollars. Yeah,
it's
I think it's 25,
close.
Something like that in US dollars.
Yeah. Yeah. So the paid version has what Jo was just talking about, those GPTs, which we will actually go into in a second. Yeah, so they're only on the paid version. We may as well talk about them now, actually, while we're on the subject. So yeah, like Jo said, it's like apps in an app store. So they're in the paid version and there's a little button in the top left. I can't remember what it says, Jo. Can you remember what it says? Is it just
I think it says, I'll have a quick look now. I think it says custom GPTs. Oh, explore GPTs.
Yeah. And so you click on that and the interface really does look like you're in an app store or the Play Store. And there are a bunch of different ones. So ChatGPT is what we call a generalist. So it's got a bunch of random information, but it's not specializing in anything in particular, whereas the custom GPTs have been trained in a certain area. So you can jump in, start asking it questions to do with that subject, and it already sort of has that context, has that background that you would have to give the general ChatGPT if you were just talking to that.
Yeah. specialists. Yeah, I like that word. That's how you kind of think of them, specialist trained GPTs.
Yeah.
All right, some of the examples. We've been using this for our team members, and this, if you have an organization that uses any kind of tech, yourself or your team members, this is a really good one to have available for everyone. They are free, and the GPTs are all free. So the Tech Support Advisor. This knows everything there is to know about troubleshooting issues that you're having on your computer.
Yeah. So in our internal chat tool, we have a channel dedicated to tech help. So our team will ask questions in there. If something's gone wrong, they don't know how to fix something, they want to change something on a tool or app. But we have asked them, instead of posting in there, ask the Tech Support Advisor GPT. And then instead of asking those questions in the chat, actually just post and let us know how it went, what you found once you were talking to the Tech Support Advisor in ChatGPT. So that's been going really well. I've seen our team using it quite a bit, actually.
Yeah. The other one is an image generator. So you're pulling together some PowerPoint slides or anything that requires an image. DALL-E is inbuilt into ChatGPT, and it provides you with some royalty-free images that you can use on your social media, website, etc. However, just be mindful that it's very obvious when an image comes from DALL-E, and I would be getting really good at asking, instructing, prompting for the image that you want, because it's quite difficult to get it. You really have to have a lot of context and a lot of detail to get something really good out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are other AI tools and apps that are not within ChatGPT that also specialize in the image generation side of things. But within ChatGPT, there are a few custom GPTs. So a lot of them can be very obvious, and you have to watch out for things. If you're generating people, you have to watch out for things like fingers and feet and ears, and like it just loves to throw in extra limbs and random things like that. So yeah, if you are actually going to use those images on like your business social media, then please be very careful about just scanning for anything really strange in the image. It's not perfect. The next one that we've got is data analyst. So you can drop in files and ChatGPT can, analyze the data that you're putting in. It can compare two different documents that you're putting in, spot the differences. It can, just scan through any documents that you're uploading. This is, again, in the paid version. You can upload documents, or you can paste in text data if you really want to, but again, just taking it that one step further, making it slightly easier, and actually dropping in the document and getting it analyzed in any way you want.
Yeah.
And the next one that I've got on the list actually is Write For Me, which is one GPT, and then another one called Humanizer. So a lot of people have been using ChatGPT to write it content for their social media, write emails, like marketing, or just anything in their brand voice, really. But again, it's not perfect yet. So when it is spitting content back out, quite often you can tell that it's been written by ChatGPT. There are a few dead giveaways, especially the use of 1,000 emojis, like the rocket emoji. And there are a few key terms that it likes to throw in there.
Unlock is one.
Unleash.
Unleash, yeah.
Unleash
digital landscape.
Yes. Yeah. So it's starting to get pretty obvious the more that people use it. And so to combat that, there's another custom GPT called Humanizer. So you can get the content that ChatGPT or Write For Me has written for you, put it into the Humanizer, and then it will rewrite it to actually sound like it was written by a human.
Yeah, because this is all about prompting. So I can't stress this enough that you need to get good at prompting to be able to have ChatGPT support you and be able to help you with all of your writing and make it sound exactly like you. It's all about prompting. And it is possible to get it to sound like you. There's things like techniques like providing it examples of your writing. Maybe you've written a blog post or a bunch of emails or a sales page or something, and you're providing it the example of this is how I write, and really like keep instructing it until it gets better and better and closer. However, I still think there's going to be so let's say you're writing your sales page copy or something like that. There needs to be 10% of the time and energy spent on planning out the prompt and giving it all the context, letting ChatGPT do 80% of the kind of the work, and then you still spending another 10% of the time to refine it, remove things that don't sound like you, and put your human kind of aspect on top of it to make it actually good.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you can't be having ChatGPT do more than 80% of the work.
No. And it's very similar to delegating to another human. You have to give it that background context, otherwise it is going to do a crap job, just like a human would, and it's not going to get it perfect 100% of the time, but it's our jobs to correct it, let it know what it did wrong, so that next time it does it, it can actually do it correct for you. So do give it feedback as well.
Yes, very important. Let's talk about here AI hallucinations. So AI will completely make stuff up and believe that it is actually true. So you cannot rely on the facts, sources, the data that AI provides to you, because they potentially have been completely made up. So this is very important, and there's a few cases around the world where even a lawyer has used ChatGPT to provide it with a specific example of a case, and the case was completely made up, and that lawyer used it in court. So you must fact check everything. Do not rely on the information that you're getting back out from ChatGPT.
Yeah, it makes its best guess at what it assumes might be correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, obviously that's not always the truth. So, yeah. So another way that you could start using AI is, like I said at the beginning, start using AI integrations for tools and apps that you already have. So Google Workspace has Gemini, which is their own AI tool, which integrates with Gmail, Google Meets, Google Sheets, Google Docs, all of those Google Workspace apps. And then there's a Microsoft version as well, which is Copilot, which again assists in the Word, PowerPoint, Excel, all of those apps as well. So there are a couple of key ones. If you're using either of those for your email platform with your team, then you could start having a look around there. There are CRM tools and project management tools that are coming out with AI integration now. Like I've seen Asana, Monday.com, Trello, just a few that are coming out. And there will be some that are starting to pop up in beta mode, but especially if it's free, it's worth just having a play around and see what the capabilities are in there, because if you've already got the tool, you can just take it that one step further.
Yeah, and they're mostly around like kind of automating workflows that you have inside those tools, or assisting with writing something inside a tool, writing an email for inside your CRM. You could use the assistant that's in there, the AI assistant, those kind of things.
Yeah. And as we start moving into the LAMs, the large action models, then we're going to start having the integrations where like it can pull data from a Google sheet and then put it into an email and type up an email to the person that you need to send the data to, and actually start having those cross-app integrations, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Zapier is a tool that already helps you connect those things, and it's just going to get even more powerful as they bring out more AI integrations.
Yeah. So we wanted to give you some examples of some simple tasks that we have already been using AI to help us with, to give you an idea about what you can maybe use ChatGPT to help you with if you're just starting out. So an example for me last week that I really, really loved, we have a team meeting every single week. And in that, or after that meeting, I should say, I just send out a bullet pointed list of the key points that were covered in that meeting so that anyone that missed the meeting can look back at those, or anyone that was there wants to recap it can go back and have a look. Although that takes a little bit of time for me to compile. It doesn't take too long, but it still takes me unnecessary time, and I would rather be spending my time doing higher level tasks. So I turned on Zoom's AI summary, and that typed up essentially the action points and the meeting minutes, but it did put it into paragraphs, and I didn't want to send out massive paragraphs to the team to read through a summary of the entire meeting. So I grabbed that, put that in ChatGPT, asked ChatGPT to break that down into the key points in really short, snappy bullet points. And then I used that and put that out to the team instead. So it was, again, that 10-80-10 thing. I spent a little bit of time doing the prompt and then actually got the result I wanted and just scanned to make sure all the info was there. But it did 80% of that heavy lifting for me.
Yep. You can definitely use it for rewriting an email that didn't sound quite right. Maybe you struggle to kind of put things into words in an email in a friendly way, or a way that gets your point across. If you are struggling with that email, then pop just your notes into ChatGPT, ask it to write this as an email, give it some context, who it's for, what message you want to get across, and it will write a great sounding email for you. Sometimes I use the prompt, please write this in a plain English and straightforward way. That seems to work well.
Yeah. And it can work the other way as well. If you're, say, dealing with someone that's super direct, you can get that out. If you're not used to typing like that and add 100 smiley faces and you just want it to be super straight to the point, you can get it to do that for you. Our team using the tech support GPT, as we mentioned above, and also one that I tested out because I gave a presentation a couple of weeks ago, image creation for presentation slides.
Yeah, I've definitely used that for my webinar that I did on AI for the VA industry. Sam and I pulled together a presentation, and all of the graphics were all created by ChatGPT.
It's pretty amazing, actually. Presentation I did some hyper realistic photo generation, and so I put two generated up on the screen next to each other and asked everyone which one they thought was AI, and they didn't know that both of them were AI, so they were all sort of focusing on one, and I was like, these are both AI and they're both amazingly detailed up close picture or photos essentially of a face, but it's a person that doesn't even exist, and they were gobsmacked.
Yeah, they had, like, it can get down to such detail that you can see the pores on the photo.
Every individual eyelash, like it's crazy. Yeah. And another one that I used it for as well, which I love doing, is photo editing. So it can do so much here. So for Photoshop has their own AI integration. If you use Canva, it even has a AI, I don't know what it's called in Canva, but it does the same thing. You can select over whatever it is you want to change or remove from the image, and then you just type in the prompt and ask it to replace it with whatever it is. So you can remove people from backgrounds. I've changed entire backgrounds. I've like completely redone headshots of myself, changed my outfit. You can fix your hair up if you've got stray bits of hair floating around the place. So it's really, really, really insane what you can do with photo editing.
I had a photo that I needed like me to be more on the left and have some blank space on the right. So I got a photo, like a photo shoot photo that you did for us, T, and I asked it to kind of extend out the photo on the right-hand side and put like a fake wall, and it had like a light and stuff that it put on the wall. And I, did it a bunch of times to try and get something that looked okay, because it can get a little bit off. This was in Canva. putting some weird things into your photo, but I did a great job, and then I could put text on the side of the image.
Yeah, that actually just reminded me as well about the Bali image that I made for you and Sam. We had a normal photo shoot image of Jo and Sam, and they're doing a Bali retreat soon. So we needed to make it look like they were in Bali, but obviously they weren't in Bali. So we edited the background, we added in some tropical drinks and just added in a bunch of tropical plants and just fully redid this image that you guys were sitting inside at a table, I think it was originally. No, you're in Bali now.
Yeah, it is incredible, the possibilities with that one.
Yeah.
Okay, another thing that I use it for is doing so if I've got to write a large document or pull together a webinar or like a presentation or something, then I use it as my kind of planning and research assistant. So I give it a bunch of ideas of this is what I'm thinking, and just like really basic notes, not fully structured, clear sentences, but just throwing in your notes. I asked it like, this is my audience, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I want, this is the kind of length I want, giving it all the kind of parameters and the context, and then saying, okay, can you help me come up with a bit of a structure or an outline for this? And then once you've got an outline, then you can go into each kind of section and be like, okay, let's work on this section first. These are my notes for this section. Let's flesh this out. Okay, no, I want it longer. I want it shorter. And then you're helping it build up your document or your presentation kind of section by section. I find that incredibly helpful. And sometimes it goes off on the wrong track, and so you just bring it back and actually that wasn't what I was thinking. This is more what I was thinking. You just help it build things for you, with you.
Yeah, something that I have also done is I have told it who I am, what my role is within the company. I uploaded our pricing guide to it and sent it our website link, and then also told it I want it to use always Australian/New Zealand/UK English, never American English, and just gave it that before I started using it at all, so that I have this baseline of it knowing a bit of background about my business, and anything that I do ask it to write, it will relate it back and know who I am and how I want it to sound.
Yes, that context is so important. Don't be afraid to throw it as many documents as you have that will give it the context.
Yeah. And then I quizzed it afterwards as well. I was like, how much would it be if I wanted this many hours, blah, 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 blah. And then it came back, gave me all the right pricing. So yeah.
Amazing. I run the New Zealand Virtual Assistant Awards with Sam over in the VA Foundry, and we were adding a couple of new award categories, and so we got it to write some descriptions for us for those award categories. I gave it all the categories that we already had in those descriptions as background, and then it created them the same length, the same style, the same language, the same kind of style is probably the right words, because you don't want like this weird one over here that looks completely different to all the others or sounds different to the others. So yeah, it wrote us the descriptions and did a really great job because of all that context that it had.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have asked it to explain things to me. This is going to sound so stupid, like I'm a 5-year-old.
Yes.
To see how it will re-explain things, because it does an amazing job. Like if something's really complex, it will fully dumb it down for you, explain it to you in a way that you can interpret. And also even summarizing books or like large chunks of text that you maybe don't have time to read, or are trying to figure out if it's worth you reading. And so you can ask it for a bit of a summary as well.
Yeah, I ask it to help me understand things within the AI world. So I say, if I've just heard a new term, can you explain what generative AI is or what a GPT is? So getting it to help you understand, be your like kind of tutor, I think is a really cool option. Also, we created a digital product, and we wanted to create a welcome email for those who purchased it over in my other business, the Foundry. at the VA Foundry, and I gave it the welcome email for the previous product and said, okay, we've got a new product now. This is what it's called. Can you please update and switch out all of the mentions of the other product and replace it with the new product? Just saved me going through and editing it, or having it in Word and, doing it in Word, yes, but this is so much faster. I love using it for things like that.
Yep, that's awesome. We can also give it a list of actions from a meeting, and you can ask it to pick out the ones that are for you. Like if you have a bunch of really, quick notes that you've written from a meeting and everyone's got their name next to it, just plonk it in, ask it to pull out all the ones that are actually relevant to you that you're involved in, so that you don't have to trawl through the list and figure out what you need to action personally.
Mm-hmm. Such a time saver. Okay. Any others on the list, Teesha?
I think that's probably a good enough list for now, but we can move on to some things that we're keen to plant the seed with people starting to just think about, and we are going to do another episode on the things that we mentioned now. Mm-hmm. I'm going to hand over to you, Jo, because Zapier, I know, is one of your absolute faves.
Yeah, some things that we want you to start thinking about, because so we've just gone through, the first step is really using that AI model, so whichever one you choose, Copilot, Gemini, Meta AI, or ChatGPT, and really learning the prompting and using it to help you create things like text and images. That's definitely number one. Some other things to think about is how you can use automation and AI inside your business. And there is an awesome tool called Zapier, which has just brought out a whole bunch of new kind of features, which the Strictly Savvy team is currently getting up to speed with. And some of the cool things in there, creating all of your workflows on a canvas is what they call it, and figuring out which things are done manually by a person, which things can be automated through a Zap inside Zapier, and then where your other opportunities are for creating some automation. So I think that this is going to be an absolute game changer for businesses who are willing to have a look at their entire business and see across all of their departments, all of their areas, which things can be automated by a tool called Zapier. Connecting other tools together and with a trigger and an action, having something completed for you without you needing to do anything. Amazing.
Another one is chatbots. So this could be for your website, for your own customers and clients, or it could also be an internal chatbot as well. So what I mean by that is that you're going to feed this chatbot all this information about your business, again, your brand, tone of voice, pricing, whatever information it is, say that you're getting frequently asked questions about in your sales calls or just inquiries that you're getting through. You feed it all of that information, and then it can answer all of those questions. When someone jumps on your website, has a little pop-up and they can talk to that chatbot. But if you had something like an internal intranet like we do at Strictly Savvy, we can also feed it all of that information for our team members to ask questions, instead of them coming to, say, the leadership team to be like, where can I find this? They can talk to the chatbot and it will point them in the direction of where they need to go, where they need to find things, how we do things at Strictly Savvy. So that the possibilities with chatbots are going to be really, really awesome.
Yep. Something else that's coming is digital teams. So having individually trained, specialized digital agents in a team, where a workflow, so the trigger, step 1, step 2, step 3, etc., is all set up inside a tool, and each digital agent team member is then assigned a specific task in that workflow, and when it triggers the workflow to begin, all of your digital team members but they take action on their task. They action the task that they have been assigned. Now, this is initially going to be the ability to do that with text that they can write. So let's say you've got a YouTube video that you've created, or some kind of podcast episode that you've created, and then you want a LinkedIn post to be created, a Twitter post, Instagram post, a blog post, all from that one piece of content that you created, maybe a bunch of short videos, all captioned, with the ability to connect your digital team members into tools that you have and into the workflow so they know when they need to complete that task. Like, the options for that are going to be absolutely endless. So that's something that we are closely watching. We've got a couple of tools that we are looking at to see which one's going to stick around and do a great job at having these digital teams set up in.
Yeah. So another thing to start thinking about is, if you do have a team, then start thinking about which of your team members could start pivoting their role slightly into delegating more to AI. Then they can step up the level of work that they're personally doing if they're able to delegate a bunch more on. So a bunch of admin stuff can definitely be delegated. Yep. And if you don't have a team, then a virtual assistant could also help you with that. Start identifying what in your business could be automated or that you could be using AI for. So if you don't have the time to start investigating that yourself, don't have a team, then a virtual assistant could be a great option for you to start looking into that.
Now, our friends over at Rocket Spark created an article recently, and they had this awesome analogy in there for something for you to think about how AI is going to change the way that we work. So here it is. Kind of like going from old-timey hand washing of clothing to throwing clothes in a washing machine and pushing a button. There will still be some manual work involved, kind of like moving the clothes from the washer to the dryer and folding and putting away.
Yeah. Again, 10-80-10 rule. But yeah, AI is also going to be massive and make that much of an impact and change to everyone's lives. So we will continue to update you on what we find out and how you can best use AI in your business. And if you want a hand starting to use AI in your business, then we can help over at strictlysavvy.co.nz. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the Get Savvy podcast.